Welcome into the Commanders Report. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Tonight, the Washington Commanders have their second preseason game of the year on Monday Night Football versus the Cincinnati Bengals. It should be a fun one, and we will be going live later this evening, an hour before kickoff. Me, Joey Peterson, our producer, of course, Ponzi. The whole crew is going to be there. We're going to sing some Cry Eagles Cries. We're going to be giving away a Jayden Daniels t-shirt, a couple of Super Chat giveaways, stuff like that. So make sure you guys join us later this evening for our live watch party. We've got an hour pregame coverage, followed by live play-by-play of every single play of this preseason game, followed by instant analysis and my winners and losers list after the game is over. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button and join us later tonight for our live watch party. But today, I wanted to break down 6 storylines that every Commanders fan, I think, should be keeping their eye out for tonight. I know I will be keeping my eye out for these storylines tonight as the Commanders are set to play a majority of their starters. Now, there's certain players that are dealing with certain injuries right now, and certain veterans are getting the opportunity to not play tonight. But we will see Jayden Daniels. We will see a lot of the younger starters out there tonight. So that will be very fun to watch, especially because the Bengals are expected to play their starters for at least a quarter tonight. So Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki, Chase Brown, their entire offense and all the weapons that they've got. It's going to be a good test for the Washington Commanders defense, which is my first takeaway here, guys. I want to see how this defense matches up versus Joe Burrow and this Bengals offense, which was one of the best in football last year and is expected to be one of the best in football again this year. But they do have a vulnerability on the offensive line, and I want to see, the pass rush here with Washington. Guys like Jazon Newton, guys like Frankie Louvu, guys like Javon Kinlaw, Dorrance Armstrong, etc. get into the backfield tonight and create some havoc for Joe Burrow before he can throw it to guys like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. 2 guys that are going to be covered up by Commanders players here that are going into very early seasons in their NFL journey. Guys like Trey Amos, the rookie out of Ole Miss, he's going to be going up against either Jamar Chase or T. Higgins tonight. Might be going up against both of them at different points in the evening. Mike Sainristil is going to be out there tonight. Marshawn Lattimore probably won't. He might be. We'll see. But then if it's not, it's going to be Jonathan Jones out there. We got multiple safeties out there as well that are going to be charged with stopping this Cincinnati Bengals offense, which is not going to be easy to do. But that is my first takeaway. How does this first team defense look against Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and this really good Bengals offense? We're going to get quite a bit of that tonight. It sounds like a quarter of that matchup. So really excited to see that matchup play out through that first quarter. Then shifting over to the offensive side of the ball, my second takeaway here, guys, is how does that first-team offense look without Terry McLaurin out there? Now, obviously, McLaurin and the Commanders seem like they have made some progress in negotiations, and it definitely seems like they will get a deal done at some point before the opener versus the New York Football Giants in Week 1. But he's still not under contract, and he is not going to be playing tonight, even though he was activated off the PUP list earlier in the week. But it's going to be Jayden Daniels, and it's going to be a hodgepodge of different wide receivers trying to prove their worth here. Of course, we're going to see, Ben Sinnott, the tight end out of Kansas State tonight. I'm excited to see him play, but, who is going to step up in that first team unit? Is it going to be Luke McCaffrey? Is it going to be Jalen Lane? Is it going to be Chris Moore? Is it going to be Tay Martin? Is it going to be somebody else? Like, who is going to step up in Terry McLaurin's stead here? It's definitely going to be an interesting question to watch as the evening unfolds. Third takeaway that I'm going to be watching in this game is Jacory Croskey-Merritt. Is he ready for the big time? Because it was reported yesterday. We did a full video on it yesterday on the channel, so make sure you guys check it out after today's show if you haven't already. But the Commanders are shopping Brian Robinson Jr., the guy that has been slated to be this team's #1 running back heading into the year. They are shopping him on the open market right now via trade, and they're hoping to unload him before the start of the season, likely because they believe in Jacory Croskey-Merritt or Bill Croskey-Merritt, whichever one you prefer there, to be their #1 running back this year. And he looked really good in that first preseason game versus the New England Patriots. I think he's going to get quite a bit of run tonight as well to kind of show off his skill set, because it's going to be in front of a national audience tonight. It's the only game that's on TV and on prime time on ESPN. Like, the entire NFL world is going to be introduced to Jacory Croskey-Merritt tonight. So he might be the number one guy that I've got my eye on tonight, because we know what Jayden Daniels can do. For the most part, we know what some of these defensive players can do, even though some of them are trying to establish themselves this season. But Jacory Croskey-Merritt, man, like the team is putting a lot of faith in this young man as a 7th-round rookie to come in here and be this team's number one running back on a team that's expecting to compete for a Super Bowl this year. So, this is going to be kind of his introduction to the NFL world at large tonight. And Commanders fans know who he is. Draft nerds know who he is. But I think the general NFL audience is going to get introduced to Jacory Croskey-Merritt tonight, and hopefully he gives them something to get excited about. Then another thing that I'm going to be watching for tonight, guys, can Jayden Newton stay hot? Last week he had that forced fumble on that quick pressure on Drake May. Looked really good on film versus the Patriots. I'm looking for another good performance tonight, especially because the interior of that Cincinnati Bengals offensive line is very, very vulnerable. Specifically, their left guard position is in complete shambles heading into the year, and I think they have a rookie starting there, a late-round rookie starting at that spot heading into the season. He's going to be playing tonight, and I think Jayden Newton has an opportunity to just absolutely wreck this kid. So keep your eye on Jayden Newton. It could be a big night for him. Then Jeremy Reaves, somebody that has been getting a lot of praise from the Commanders coaching staff this year in terms of his offseason program, in terms of how he's looked in training camp. Right now, he's getting first-team looks on the Commanders defense as the quote-unquote bandit safety that we have been talking about on this channel for a long time, and there's been a big question as to who that bandit safety was going to be. Tyler Owens seemed like he got an opportunity at the beginning of camp to take that role. Seemed like he underwhelmed there, and Jeremy Reaves has been the one that's been consistently making plays. And he's been out there with Will Harris and Quan Martin as that third safety when they go to that 3-safety package. So Reaves has been somebody that's been a standout special teamer for a long time, but he hasn't really been an every down starter on defense ever in his career, at least to start a season. And now it's looking like he's going to have a legitimate role in the Commanders defense. I thought he looked really good in that first preseason game versus the Patriots. I'm going to be watching for him to have another good night tonight, and as he continues to march his way towards a legitimate role in this Commanders defense this year. And then the final thing that I'm going to be keeping my eye out for tonight, guys, is which UDFAs make their case to make this roster. All right, like this team has a number of UDFAs, specifically at the wide receiver position, that have really stood out. I really like Ja'Cory Brooks out of Louisville. He's probably the one I'm going to be keeping my eye on the closest tonight because he really had a great game versus the Patriots in the second half of that football game. Also, another receiver to keep your eye on that's kind of considered a backup is Tay Martin. He's been awesome throughout camp and throughout the preseason as well. So it's just going to be interesting to see which UDFAs, which guys are coming in here and are going to be trying to make their case to make this final roster, because we are, getting really close to final roster cut down day as this team prepares to take on the New York Football Giants in Week 1. Again, guys, we're going to be covering all of this and more tonight on our live watch party. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button. Of course, we'll be in studio. We'll be doing our Super Chat giveaways. We have the largest Commanders watch parties anywhere on YouTube, and we're going to be live for every single Commanders game this year, pre-regular, and hopefully at least a couple of postseason games just like we were last year. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until later tonight, guys, hail to the Commanders.